When most people hear Africa, they don't think of high-speed trains, billion-dollar tech companies, artificial intelligence, or cities being built from the ground up. But across the continent, something very different is happening. Rwanda is using drones to deliver blood. Morocco has Africa's fastest train. Kenya built one of the most successful mobile money systems in the world. Egypt is building an entire new capital in the desert. These aren't future plans. They're already happening right now. And the most surprising part? Some of these countries are doing things most foreigners would never expect from Africa. So today we're counting down 10 African countries that are far more advanced than most people realize. Number 1 might completely change the way you see this continent. Let's begin. Number 10, Ghana. Most foreigners don't expect Ghana to be one of Africa's biggest digital economies, but Accra is home to Google's first engineering center on the entire continent, the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and a mobile money economy worth trillions. Here's why that matters. The African Continental Free Trade Area connects 55 countries and over 1 billion people under one trade agreement. Somebody has to run that. Ghana got the job. Not Nigeria, not South Africa, Ghana. And Google didn't pick Accra by accident either. Out of every city on the continent, it's where Google chose to build its first African engineering hub. On the ground, this shows up in everyday life. In a single year, Ghanaians moved over 3 trillion cedi through mobile money. No bank branch required. Someone selling vegetables on the street can get paid with a tap, faster than most banked economies can process a transfer. Here's the catch. Hosting the trade headquarters is one thing. Making trade actually smooth between 55 different countries is another. Right now, that part still isn't fully working. Small businesses trying to sell across African borders still run into delays, fees, and mismatched systems. So Ghana holds the address for the future of African trade. It hasn't fully delivered it yet. Next up, a country that didn't just build fintech companies. It built some of the biggest fintech companies on the entire continent, from a city most people only know for its traffic. Number 9, Nigeria. Nigeria is home to more billion-dollar tech companies than almost anywhere else in Africa. Flutterwave, Opay, MoneyPoint. All started in Lagos, all now worth over $1 billion. Here's the scale of it. Over 400 active fintech startups, a sector worth more than $10 billion. Lagos alone holds nearly 1,000 startups, making it the highest-ranked startup city on the continent and one of the fastest-growing anywhere in the world. Globally, Nigeria ranks in the top 20 for online banking and cryptocurrency adoption. Not top 20 in Africa, top 20 on Earth. Why does this matter? Most of these companies exist because traditional banks never reached most Nigerians in the first place. So instead of waiting for banks to show up, Nigerian founders built something faster on phones people already owned. Here's the catch. All of this happened inside one of the hardest business environments on the continent. Currency swings, unreliable power, unpredictable regulation. Nigeria ranks near the bottom globally for ease of doing business. This isn't a story about an easy environment producing great companies. It's a story about founders solving huge problems anyway. That contrast, brilliant technology inside real difficulty, shows up again on this list. Next, a country that took that same tension and pointed it at something even bigger than an app, an entire national power grid. Number 8, South Africa. 2 years ago, South Africa had 335 days of scheduled blackouts in a single year. By 2025, it had gone over 300 straight days without a single one. That's one of the fastest infrastructure turnarounds on the continent. Engineers added over 4,000 megawatts of new power capacity. Coburg, Africa's only nuclear plant, got a 20-year life extension to keep running. Here's why South Africa still belongs on this list even with that history. It's Africa's most industrialized economy. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange is the continent's only fully modern stock exchange. Its financial and legal systems are some of the most developed in Africa, but the turnaround isn't guaranteed to last. Unemployment still sits above 30%, worse among young people. Energy analysts warn the current stability could crack again before the end of the decade if new power sources don't come online fast enough. Still, going from national blackout crisis to over 300 stable days in under 2 years is not a small achievement. Next, a country that didn't just adopt mobile banking, it basically invented it, and the whole world copied the idea. Number 7, Kenya. In 2007, Kenya launched a way to send money using nothing but a basic phone and a text message. No app, no internet, no bank account required. That was M-Pesa. It became the blueprint the rest of the world studies for mobile banking today. Here's how far it's gone. In 2026, Kenya launched ZD Trader, letting ordinary M-Pesa users buy and sell stocks directly from their phone, starting with a single share. Within months, over 100,000 people were actively trading. Nairobi earned the nickname Silicon Savannah because of the hundreds of fintech startups now built on top of what M-Pesa started. Mark Zuckerberg visited Nairobi and publicly called Kenya a world leader in mobile money, years before most of Silicon Valley started paying attention to Africa at all. Here's the catch. Mobile money grew this big partly because traditional banks never reached most Kenyans in the first place. It's a brilliant solution, but it's also covering a gap that's still there underneath it. Even so, if you've used a mobile payment app anywhere in the world, you're using an idea Kenya proved could work first. Next, a country taking using your phone for something incredible to a level that sounds almost impossible. Number 6, Rwanda. Rwanda has nationwide drone delivery. Not a trial, not a small pilot zone, the entire country. It started in 2016, mostly for blood and emergency medical supplies, to places roads couldn't reach fast enough. Today, drones handle roughly 75% of blood deliveries outside the capital, Kigali, a number credited with real drops in maternal mortality. In 2026, Rwanda went further, becoming the first country in the world with full nationwide autonomous delivery coverage and the first in Africa with drone delivery built for cities, not just rural clinics. In 2025, it hosted Africa's first public flight of a self-flying electric air taxi. Why does this matter beyond the headline? In places with no paved roads and no nearby hospital, a drone can turn a life or death wait into a 15-minute flight. Here's the catch. Rwanda is still a small, low-income economy. This isn't a story about broad national wealth. It's a story about narrow, aggressive policy focus. Officials openly call it becoming the Singapore of Africa, betting on execution instead of resources. That bet is paying off in ways most people never expect. Next, a country that made a similar bet, but on something you can actually ride. Number 5, Morocco. Morocco has Africa's only high-speed train. It hits 200 miles an hour and cuts a 5-hour trip down to just over 2. Al Barak launched in 2018 and connects Tangier, Rabat, and Casablanca. In 2025, it carried 5.6 million passengers. Here's a comparison that puts it in perspective. In April 2026, the American news show 60 Minutes used Al Barak as an example of modern rail engineering and directly compared it to California's high-speed rail project, approved back in 2008. As of 2026, California still hasn't laid a single mile of track. Morocco built a working bullet train faster than California could get through paperwork. Morocco isn't stopping there either. The line is being extended toward Marrakesh ahead of co-hosting the 2030 World Cup. Here's the catch. This high-speed network covers one corridor. The Sahara, the Atlas Mountains, and plenty of smaller towns still have zero rail access. This is one incredible line, not yet a national system. Still, one line was enough to make the rest of the world take notice. Next, a country that just finished building something on a completely different scale. Number 4, Ethiopia. Ethiopia just finished building Africa's largest hydropower dam and paid for almost all of it themselves. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam switched on in September 2025. It generates over 5,000 megawatts of electricity. It cost around $5 billion, funded mainly through domestic bonds and public contributions, after Ethiopia failed to secure major foreign loans. More than 25,000 people, mostly Ethiopian, built it. An entire town, complete with a hospital and a school, grew up around the construction site. Here's why it matters. Around 45% of Ethiopians still lacked reliable electricity as the dam neared completion. This project is meant to more than double the country's power output. Here's the catch. Egypt depends heavily on the same river downstream and was noticeably absent from the inauguration. There's still no binding agreement between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan on how the dam will be managed long-term. Ethiopia's prime minister named the reservoir Nigat, meaning dawn. Whether that dawn brings cooperation or ongoing tension with its neighbors is still an open question. Next, a country building an entire city from nothing, in the middle of the desert. Number 3, Egypt. Drive 45 minutes east out of Cairo, and the desert turns into what looks like the world's largest construction site. This is Egypt's new administrative capital, a brand new city built from scratch, designed to eventually house up to 8 million people. That's nearly twice the size of Singapore. It already has Africa's tallest skyscraper, a massive opera house, and the largest cathedral in the Middle East. Close to 50,000 government workers commute in daily just to staff the new ministries. Why build a whole new capital? Old Cairo has become almost impossibly crowded, nearly 23 million people packed into one of the densest cities on Earth. Here's the catch. Even with all that construction, only around 30 to 60,000 people actually live there full-time so far. Housing costs are far out of reach for most Egyptians, and the $58 billion price tag has added to national debt. It's an enormous bet on the future, and whether it pays off is still an open question. Next, a country betting on something even harder to build: public trust in artificial intelligence. Number 2, Mauritius. Most national budgets talk about roads, schools, and hospitals. Mauritius's newest budget opens with artificial intelligence, listed as priority number 1. The 2026 to 2027 budget commits to training 50,000 citizens in practical AI skills within a single year. Not just tech workers, but secondary school teachers, small business owners, and 9th grade students too. Here's the scale of the bet. A new tech zone at Côte d'Or is being built specifically for AI companies and data centers, backed by a 10-year tax holiday for startups. The country's tech sector already contributes over 5% of GDP and employs tens of thousands. Impressive for an island with a population smaller than most cities. Why does this matter? Mauritius is trying to become the AI and cloud hub for its entire region, betting that a small population with the right skills can outcompete much bigger economies. Here's the catch. As of this budget, most of this is fresh policy, funded but not yet delivered. The real test comes over the next year or two. Betting your national identity on becoming an AI hub is a bold move for a country most people only associate with beach vacations. Now, the country that ties everything on this list together. Number 1, Seychelles. Seychelles has about 120,000 people. That's smaller than most mid-sized towns, and it holds the highest score on the UN's Human Development Index of any country in Africa, the highest income per person on the continent, a corruption ranking that beats most wealthy nations people assume are automatically more transparent. 94% of Seychellois have a bank account. That number puts Seychelles ahead of most of its neighbors, and honestly, ahead of a lot of countries far outside Africa too. Why does this matter more than the numbers alone? Development usually gets linked to population size or economic scale. Seychelles proves that's not the whole story. Decades of stable governance and heavy investment in healthcare and education turned a tiny island chain into the most developed nation on the continent. By the measures that matter most: how long people live, how educated they are, and how much they earn. Here's the catch. The economy depends heavily on tourism and fishing, which made it extremely vulnerable during global disruptions like the pandemic. Rising sea levels are a long-term threat larger countries don't face in the same way. Even with those risks, one thing is clear. When it comes to the numbers that actually measure how well people live, Seychelles isn't just doing well for Africa. It's doing well, period. 10 countries, 10 completely different reasons to be surprised. Drone-powered healthcare in Rwanda, a high-speed train outpacing California, a tiny island quietly outperforming countries 100 times its size. Advanced doesn't look the same everywhere. Sometimes it's a skyline. Sometimes it's a single drone flying over a village that never had a paved road. Which one of these 10 surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe because there's a lot more coming.